Hello everyone, so it is now officially the new year, so happy new year everyone. I really hope that this year is gonna be kind and wonderful to all of you, and it is New Year's Day and it's absolutely hilarious to me. Like, I love dressing up, and last night I had this like black velvety with like silver sparkly shit on it romper, and today I was just like, you know what, I got home and I was like, maybe we're just gonna wear a hoodie today. I basically went to like chill at home party with one of my best friends and her boyfriend and his friends, and it was so fun. I just love the new year. I have always loved it. Honestly, New Year's Eve is like one of my favorite days ever, and I have never fully celebrated it the way that I imagine, but like we're getting there, you know? And I still love it the way that it is just on its own, and it's just like so fucking symbolic to me every single time, and it's like a very powerful thing for me. And like I know a lot of other people, obviously not everyone, but I'm just like the fact that there's other people who feel it too. It has been such a weird day. Obviously another thing that I find fascinating about it is like time actually doesn't feel real. You know, it's like the time, a day when you're like really aware of what day it is, but at the same time just like time feels absolutely unreal. Like it just feels so like blurry and weird and whatever. And like I went to bed at 5 and I woke up at like 11, so that was like really decent. And then I got back home at like 5 p.m. and then I went to the movies and I went to see Anyone But You, and I am so happy. So I didn't know that the cinema would be open. I just got the idea that I could go see a movie, and then I learned that it's actually all opened, you know, and I was just like, you know what? I fucking love the thought of that. And oh my god, I loved the shit out of that movie. And, you know, I love going to the movies in general. It always just makes me feel so happy, and like every time, you know, like the feelings, like if you know, you know, the feeling of leaving that like screen and walking out and like going down those stairs, like it is just something is so magical about that, and I love it so much. But obviously when it's a movie that you love, it is like times a million, you know, and it just like, it felt that way. And it's just like, especially because it's, you know, New Year's Day, it just felt even more meaningful. And I'm just like, I'm just really happy and really grateful, and I'm gonna shut up now because like I am not making any sense. I feel like I'm like slightly sleep deprived and like, you know, but I still have some popcorn left over because I bought a big one, just, you know, special occasion. So anyways, we're to talk about some books. And like I told you, I'm pretty sure I get extremely excited when it's January. I actually did already read my first book of the year, which to some people it would not count. To me, it does. And so I will tell you what that is. And it's called Until the Last Note Plays by Rosie Adams. So this is like a short story basically, and it is only available through her newsletter. And I actually don't know. It's also like in an anthology or something. And I obviously got it through her newsletter a few days ago, and then I was just like, I'm gonna save it for today. And I inhaled that. It's literally like 50 pages, or maybe not even that. It might be like 30 pages, whatever. Either way, it is like, I literally had that with another book last month, but I used to read novellas all the time, and like I still probably read it more than normal people, but like I was reading so many of them, and recently I have not been reading that many. Obviously there are ones that are not that good, but like just the ones that are incredible like this fascinate the shit out of me. It's like I find it so impressive as a writer how they can actually write it in such a way that like makes you see, when it's a romance, obviously the like chemistry and the connection. It doesn't feel like insta love, or even in this case it was kind of like a second chance romance. I can't really even call it a romance, I guess, because it's like a short story, but whatever. And it's just like, I don't know, it's just like, it was everything. Like it literally was so short, and I was devastated that it was over, but I was just like, this is the best thing I have read in a while. And I am so happy because Rilzy has not been putting out a lot of books, which is completely valid, of course. I know that she has been struggling with writing, and so I'm so happy that I could read this. And so that is the first sort of book. And now I want to tell you about the other like options I'm feeling very, very drawn to. So where is everything? Okay, first of all, I slightly changed up my TBR cart. We have some of the books in the color scheme of the covers that give me January vibes. I really want to read The Nanny, and I don't think that's gonna be well, it's not gonna be my first choice, but like I definitely want to read it in the next few days. A book that does not match the color scheme, but one that I'm absolutely dying to read is The Right Move by Liz Stoneford. I have still not read it. I have not read the first book, but for some reason I just want to read this first. I got this and I don't have the first one. They should be on Kindle Unlimited. Of course, we have the matter of the fact that this is 500 pages, and if you know me, you know that I always, complain about that, and like I struggle with reading long books or whatever, but I don't really have I actually do have some reading goals, which I could tell you about later, but one thing that I've been thinking about is like the reason why I don't hate long books, but I struggle with them is like I have the urge and like the fear or like the anxiety around the fact that it's gonna take me longer to finish. And I'm just like, I have worked so much on reading just for pleasure and not like the accomplishment. But with the long books, it's like I could read 2 books instead of just the one long book, And it feels like it's like making me fall behind or whatever the fuck. Like, I don't know, shit like that. I'm just like, I know I'm gonna love this. Like, I have such a strong feeling I'm gonna love this. And like, it means I'm gonna enjoy the entire book, hopefully. And it's not gonna feel that long. And all I have to do is just start it. And there's a high chance it's not even gonna take me that long to read, So like, I just need to get over it. And then I have some other options, like I said. I do think I really want to read. Oh yeah, okay. I'm gonna take 2 books out of here. I really want to read Love Redesigned by Lauren Asher. This is also, oh my god. I thought this was shorter than The Right Move. It's longer, actually. But yeah, clearly, like these authors just want to challenge me. And the other one is finally a normal, nice little 300 probably page book. Yes, exactly 300. And that is The Plus One by Maisie Eddings. That is actually the only Maisie Eddings book I have not read yet, including The Late Bloomer, which is not even out yet because I got an ARC and I read it and I loved it, and she has definitely become one of my favorite authors. And I've been, first of all, wanting to save this because I didn't want to run out of her books, and also then again the cover came into play. And now I'm just like, you know what, I want to read this. I don't want to wait. And so we're gonna be reading this very soon. Obviously, I'm probably not gonna read all of this in this video, but who knows? Maybe, something's gonna possess me and I'm still gonna do that. But I think one more thing that I'm gonna mention that is also gonna be one of the first books that I read is In Which Matilda Halifax Learns the Value of Restraint by Alexandra Vasti. So I talked about the first book in the series in a video. I absolutely adored the first book. I want to read the other 2. And I absolutely cannot wait for the next books that the author is going to put out. And yeah, they are just incredibly fun historical romances. And I've been talking for 1,000 years. So I'm gonna shut up now. I would also love to have an audiobook, but I don't really know. I've been feeling like really stuck and confused about the audiobooks that I have, and like I don't know what I'm in the mood for. I will probably go watch some rom-coms. I definitely have a goal this year to watch more movies, and I love rom-coms, obviously, and they're my favorite genre, but I actually don't really have a favorite rom-com. Like, sort of, I have my like favorite rom-coms, but it's just like, I don't know, Tell me in the comments what your favorite rom-com or rom-coms are. I need to know. And yeah, I hope you all are doing well, and we're gonna do a lot of reading. So I'm gonna go do that instead of talking, and I will update you very soon. Hi everyone, so it's been a few days and it's finally time for an update. I'm just clearly chilling in bed and I've been a little bit sick, so I haven't been updating much for that reason, but I've been trying to relax. I'm not the happiest about it. I am reading books, I've been watching movies, I am having a good time, and one thing I'm really trying to remember this month especially, but going through the whole year, is like, you know, I love the beginning of year. I think it's really inspiring and it gives me like a spark of energy and motivation, and we love to see that, but I don't want it to stress me out. Like, that is like the opposite of what I want, you know? Like, I just want to have fun. I want to do things that bring me joy, that I'm passionate about, that I love. And, you know, if I'm not like super productive, it doesn't matter. Like, literally, even if I didn't read books this week and I only watched movies, like, if I have a good time doing that, then that's a good thing, you know? I finished a book that I didn't even tell you about, and I almost finished another book that I didn't tell you about, and so I read the entirety of Everything Comes Next by Naomi Shihab Nye, and this is an author that I mentioned in my last reading, probably not last, but in one reading vlog recently. And she is a Palestinian author, and she writes poetry and fiction as well, I think. But in that video, I mentioned another poetry collection that's called Cast Away, and this is another one that I loved even more. Like, Cast Away was a really good, well-written poetry collection, but this one I feel like resonated with me even harder, and it, like, I was basically doing a puzzle as I was listening, which it's like the most random thing ever. I just got a puzzle in like an Afterlight box, and I have not done a puzzle in like 10 years, you know, maybe even more than that. Honestly, definitely like 15 even, I don't know, ages. But so I got that and I started doing that and listening to the poetry collection, which is narrated by the author, which I always feel like, especially with poetry, it makes it feel even more authentic and powerful. And it just, like, I don't know how to describe it. It did exactly what I always want poetry to do, to like make me feel more connected to life and humanity and the world around me. And it is just like so meaningful and beautiful. It's about the author's like different stories from her life, and, you know, just like about life and everything in it. And I don't even know how to describe it, because like it just like gave me such strong feelings that I can't really put it into words. But either way, you all need to check this collection out, and I'm so happy because I've been really struggling to find new poetry collections and poets, and this was incredible. And she has so many books out. I read this, I listened to it on Everand, that used to be Script, and she has so many books even on there, and I will definitely be checking those out as well, but highly recommend this. I will be thinking about it for a long time, and I honestly need to buy a physical copy of it as well. So I read that, and then I have almost finished, but I have like 40 minutes left to listen to Beginner's Luck by Kate Clayborn. So I fell in love with Kate Clayborn's writing, and I want to read all of her books, and I'm pretty sure this is her debut. It is a series where three friends basically buy lottery tickets and they win. And it's just, you know, about how like it changes their life and things that happen after that and whatever. And at first, when I first heard the concept, I was just like, you know what, that on its own does not intrigue me, but it's not really about that. In this case, we have Kit and Ben, and Kit is the one who wins the lottery, and she is a scientist, and she buys this like rundown house, and she wants to, you know, obviously like restore it and everything. You know, she has just like a quiet, chill job as a scientist, and she's just living her life. And Ben comes in and he's like, he wants to hire her for his company and give her like a higher paying position and, you know, like fancy, you know, just like fancy shit. And so he's there to convince her to do that. And she's just like, I don't want that. You know, she already has the money. She does not want to work for a company that's kind of like gonna use her, you know, and things go on from there. And I feel like as a plot on its own, it doesn't really sound that exciting, but I think what I like about it, and I think a lot of Kate Clayborn's books might be like that, they're definitely not like tropey at all. So I think for me, tropes on their own are not bad whatsoever, but if you have a feeling that you're sick of books that you feel like just keep trying to hit tropes, this is not like that whatsoever. It's just like such a human story that on the surface maybe seems really just like not boring, but just like normal. But it just like goes deep into the emotions, and I feel so connected to the characters, and the love that starts blooming between them is just like so beautiful and soft and tender, and it's steamy as well, and it's just such a beautiful combination. And I just love this book so much, and I think it's not gonna be a 5-star, but definitely at least a 4-star, maybe 4.5. But if this is Kate Clayborn's first book, it is incredible already. And like I already read, you know, her newest book, and so seeing like the development and whatever, it's just like so cool. And I definitely can say now that she is one of my favorite authors, and I'm so happy about that. Like I've heard about her for ages and I never just like picked the books up, and I'm so happy that I'm finally doing that. And I really want to order her backlist titles because like her newest book is coming out in March, and like I need it now. And yeah, so I'm so happy about that. So I'm gonna finish it. I mean, my feelings are probably not gonna change much because again, it's not a lot left, but what I will be doing first actually is I will be reading what I already told you, I think, about, which is in which Matilda Halifax learns the value of restraint. And so this is a historical romance novella, and I just had to tell you about it now because like I will go fly through it right now, and I will not be updating. I will not be updating as I do that. And this is supposed to be a vlog, not a wrap up, you know. So yeah, it is like, oh my gosh, I am so happy that I'm loving this series so much, and I cannot wait for the author's full-length books. Like I need it so bad. And in this one, Matilda is basically, she paints like very explicit portraits, and she paints this guy, a duke, Ashford or whatever, and he figures out that it's her, and she like signs it with her initials, but he figures out it's her. And things go on from there, and they just like met, and he called her out like, you know, I know you painted that of me, and he's like, you know, you're gonna ruin my reputation or whatever. And it's just like so fun, like ridiculous, lighthearted, and steamy. The tension is already so fun, and I cannot wait to keep reading this. So I will go do that.
Say what you wanna say to me now. I wanna wake up with you in the morning. Show me there's nothing fake to me now. I wanna wake up with you in the morning. Say what you wanna say to me now.
This is gonna be another makeup list update where I am still in bed. I have been kind of sick. I don't have to film with makeup on, and if there's one thing we're gonna do this year, it is to just like not hate my makeupless face, you know? So I have been doing some exciting reading, and I am making one other vlog for now. If I'm not anything else, I'm certainly a multitasker. So okay, where do I even begin? So, okay. First of all, I hope I remember it right that I did not finish Beginner's Luck and in which Matilda Halifax learns the value of restraint when I last talked to you. So I talked to you about both, but not when I finished it. And so I finished both. And guess what? I also fucking adored both of them. So let's start with Beginner's Luck. And I am so incredibly happy. Obviously, like, finding a new favorite author is always an extremely special thing, and I'm so happy that I feel like I'm really good at that. And I just, like, I obviously love it when I find a new favorite author, and I feel like Kate Clayborn, her writing is so incredibly special, and again, this is, like, probably, I still did not check if this is her first book, but it's probably her first book that already is, like, so incredible. It's soft and sweet and tender and steamy and real and wholesome and wonderful, and I loved this book so much. So we have a heroine who's actually like a scientist. I probably said that, which is cool because, like, I'm obviously mainly used to seeing that in Ali Hazelwood's books, which obviously she's not the only one who writes heroines who are in STEM or anything of that sort, but, like, she is definitely the most known right now for that, and I don't remember reading it in any other books personally because it's not something that I seek out. I am not a science person whatsoever. I think science is really cool, and I'm so happy for people who love science to have that in books, but it's not something that specifically I care about. But if it is something that you care about, that is in this book, and it is honestly, since I mentioned Ali Hazelwood, it is very different to her books. I feel like I love Ali Hazelwood, but this feels kind of like quieter. You know how I said I think that, like, it doesn't feel tropey at all. Like, I think it can be good when a book is tropey. Like, there's just, like, some books are like that, and I think every book has its place and reason to exist, you know? And so I don't think tropey books are bad, but if you don't really like that, then you need to read this. And I feel like Kate Clayborn in general writes books that are very, like, emotional, and they just, like, dive deep into all the feelings, and they make the romance feels so real, and it's just, like, it is absolutely everything. And I'm not sure if I'm putting this into words the best that I can because, like, again, I am very not at my physical best. But I loved the book. I gave it 4.5 stars, but I rounded it to 5 stars. Honestly, it doesn't really have that big of a reason. I think maybe, like, at first it took me a while to, like, completely fall in love with this book. With Georgie all along, like, it was love at first page, you know? But I still obviously loved the book so much. So, in which Matilda Halifax learns the value of restraint. I have no words. I love this series with, like, everything in me, and honestly, I can now say I have started the third book, and Alexandra Vasti is one of my new favorite authors as well because this is everything. And I'm so happy. You know, one of my friends once mentioned that, like, if you love Tessa Dare's books, read Alexandra Vasti, and I heard that, like, there's no way, like, you know, this is gonna be fun, it's gonna be great, like, hearing that made me want to read it, but I honestly went into it with low expectations because, like, Tessa Dare is an absolute icon. I love her so much, and to a lot of people, like, she is a very beloved author, and I am one of the people who loves her as an author. And so, you know, but I don't want to compare the two because I feel like that is sometimes, like, not a good idea because, like, it can, you know, make you expect something slightly different than what it is. And I think that Alexandra Vasti obviously can, like, stand on her own, and, you know, but as someone who adores Tessa Dare with my whole heart, I also adore these books with my whole heart. And I think that if you like the, like, super lighthearted, kind of modern feeling, but obviously still historical books that are very, like, steamy and fun and, sex positive, and they have, like, independent and amazing iconic heroines, like, you need to check out the series and Alexandra Vasti's books. And this series is going to be available next month, and at the end of this month she has another book that's going to be free on her newsletter, so sign up to that because, like, I'm sure it's going to be fucking amazing, and I cannot wait. Like, I'm literally counting down the days for when that happens. and it's not on Goodreads yet, but she posted it on her Instagram, and so I'm obsessed. And again, I did start In Which Winnie Halifax is Utterly Ruined. I'm gonna tell you about that when I finish it, because again, it's a novella, and like, my opinion is most probably not gonna change. I'm obsessed with it as well. And why does my hair look kind of like shorter than it is? Oh, we're not done though. So I also started another book that I'm pretty sure I'm gonna finish tonight, and that is a full-length novel, so I thought I should update you about that. And that is OK Cupid by Mason Deaver. So this is a book that I heard about a while ago and I was really excited about, but then I kind of like forgot that it was happening, and I now realized yesterday that it's already out because it came out this month. And it is so good. So Mason Deaver has a book that's called I Wish You All the Best, which is an absolutely iconic YA contemporary that I loved. I read that when it, like, around when it came out, which was at this point years ago, like, and it was just amazing. And you know, but there was like another book that Mason Deaver put out called, where is it, The Feeling of Falling in Love, and I really don't like the cover of that, which I'm pretty sure is the only reason why I did not read that. I need to look into the synopsis of that one, but I just did not read that. I also didn't really hear anyone talk about it when it came out. But OK Cupid has a cute cover, and I read about it, and I follow Mason on Instagram, and their writing is just like really special. And I mean, I Wish You All the Best like definitely left a mark on me, and years later I still remember it, which says a lot. Like, I remember it better than, you know, some books that I read last month. So it was one of the first books that I read that had a non-binary main character, and it was just like such a powerful and beautiful raw story. So this book is like a, I don't know what to call, like, I guess it could be like an urban fantasy, but to me, urban fantasy just screams like there's a whole world in our world, and there's like, you know, supernatural creatures. Like, I don't know, because like the Cupids seem to be like the only magical thing in this world, and like humans don't know about it. Whatever, that's the genre that this is. And our main character Jude basically, again, is a Cupid, and their job is to, like, you know, help people fall in love. And all of the Cupid's jobs are to, you know, make sure there's balance in the universe, and that everyone who's supposed to fall in love, or I don't know if it's like it's probably like more than just romantic love, but just whatever, whoever is supposed to just be more connected than they are. Their job is to make that happen. And at the beginning of this book, or like kind of before, Jude kind of ends up breaking the rules and gets close to a human, and that is not allowed in any way. And when they kiss, the human like forgets everything about them, and so they go on probation or something, and they have a task to basically go to this high school and be like a normal high school student and help those two people there to fall in love again, because they like broke up and whatever. And Jude is supposed to find out how that happened and get them back together. And yeah, so that is the setup, and it is so interesting. It's so unique, and I love Jude. I love the main characters. Jude is, of course, not gonna really manage not to be involved with the humans, not even just like only in the romantic way, but like in the like friendship way as well. I'm loving it so far. I'm listening to the audiobook. I don't think I said that, and it is such a quick read. Like, I literally will be finishing it tonight. I started it today. Or was it last night? Whatever. One more thing I'll say that's kind of funny to me, but like I had to say it to make it, to give you a sense of the vibe. It literally reminded me of Barbie, the movie, obviously, where Barbie, you know, is from this like kind of like magical world that's like a little bit away from everything and like romanticized, and she goes into this human world and is like fascinated by the humans and wants to learn more about them. And I feel like Jude has a very similar experience where they're part of the Cupid world, where, you know, there's like a specific order and the way that things work, but they start getting connected to all those humans around them, and they want to get to know them better and be a part of their world and like all of that shit. And I can't wait to see how this continues, because like honestly I have no idea what could happen in this story. But one thing also that made me really want to read it is that Mason described it as a story about like falling in love with love or something like that. Yeah, they described it as it's a story of disastrous first loves, of finding yourself and deciding your own fate, of amazing food and square donuts, of a love of the dark crystal and cassette tapes, and it's a story about falling in love with love. So I heard that and I was like, okay, I have to read it. So one last thing, I got a package 2 days ago that I already opened, and it is Knockout by Sarah McLean, and it is one of my most anticipated releases of last year. I do not know if I'm going to be reading it in here, but it is a book that I'm incredibly excited for and definitely do want to read soon. Hello everyone, so it's time to do my makeup and talk to you about some updates. I got my nails done yesterday. I don't know if it's gonna show well. Just as always, I got glitter and it always looks so different depending on the lighting, but this is giving like Cinderella fairy tale vibes. And I love it. As I'm pretty sure I said in this video, January just gives me blue vibes, and I was just like, you know what, normally blue is not like, I like it as a color, it's just like a very basic color, but it's basic and good for a reason, you know, I guess, but it is not a color that I generally like on like my nails or makeup or, you know, but I just like, if I'm gonna do blue nails, it's gonna be in January. So yeah, that's that. As per usual, I am making another video alongside this, so I kind of focused on that. I have not read any physical books that I told you about. Of course, who's surprised? I did actually read a physical book for that video and started another. However, that is going to change because guess what? I just bought a lamp. And it is absolutely hilarious to me that like 2 days ago I just was like, you know what I need? I need a lamp. And it was just like a mind-blowing concept suddenly, because like it is not something I have ever thought about actively, but I always talk about how like, you know, I don't like to read when it's not daylight outside and whatever, and like the problem is I just do not have good lighting. You know, it's just like I could literally create better lighting with a fucking lamp, you know? And so I got that, and just a warning, because my sister said it, I did not think of it, and I don't know, it depends, I guess, on the company maybe, but it did not actually come with a light bulb. And so she's like, make sure to check it has a light bulb. It did not. So if you ever buy a lamp, do check that. I honestly, even like right now before I set it up, I really hope that the light is gonna be good, but I'm already excited to read physical books in the dark, because I'm just like, it's gonna be such a better vibe. And like, you know, it's such a basic thing that like you can be in bed with the fucking lamp on and reading and whatever, and then you just turn off the lamp and you go to sleep and you don't have to get up or anything like that. Like, find it hilarious how I did not think of this for so long, but we made it and I'm extremely excited. However, let's talk about the books that I have actually like finished, started, whatever. So I think the only thing I finished so far is the OkCupid. So as for the Alexandra Vesti book, I actually have not finished that. I obviously like love it so much, but I just like have not gotten to it, and I definitely think I will do that soon, but I will have work tomorrow, after tomorrow, and after that. I do like if there's like a quiet moment there or like on my lunch break, I like to read ebooks on my phone, and it's obviously like better when I already know what I'm reading. Let's talk about OkCupid. So I enjoyed it a lot. I think it's such a beautiful story. And at first, I was just like, you know, the Barbie comparison is kind of funny and like, you know, but honestly, obviously it's like a whole different vibe, okay? You know, it's not about like a lot of the things that Barbie is about, but like for me, actually, I loved the Barbie movie the most for that like Barbie's experience of like discovering what it's like to be human and what it's like to live with humans and what humanity means, and like all of that is actually my favorite part of the movie. I thought that it was incredibly meaningful. And so that is the part that is in this book. And so obviously I loved that. I thought it was just so beautiful and meaningful, and it felt so real, and even though obviously it has this like magical concept, it did feel really human. And so it definitely is about just like love and what it means and being a teenager and discovering what it's like and like all of those things. So I would definitely highly recommend this book. And I loved it, and I'm really happy that I picked it up. So I actually forgot that Mason Deaver has a book. I did not see it on Goodreads for some reason, but I took out my Kindle that I've had for 1,000 years that I have not been reading on because I read on the in Kindle app on my phone. And I had The Ghosts We Keep by Mason Deaver on there, and I forgot exactly what it's about, but I'm pretty sure it's like a similar vibe, maybe even like a similar genre, but I'm not sure about that. Where it's kind of like sad but hopeful and beautiful story. And honestly, I need more shit like that this year. I really need to like step out of my comfort zone a little bit more, because I do end up loving these books. And the thing is, I hate books that just feel hopeless, that wreck you, and a lot of the time I just think that it's used for like shock value and shit like that, and it's just like not the best time. But books like this that just like are a mixture of like hope and love and sadness and like all of those things, I feel like just they feel so human and so beautiful. And if you have any recommendations, please let me know, because like I want it to help me with my sadness. I want it to give me hope, and I want it to make me feel less alone, but I don't want to end up like a wreck that feels just devastated and in despair, you know? So we read that, but I actually started 2 more things, and I'm not that far into either, but it is actually 2 audiobooks, which normally I don't listen to multiple audiobooks at a time, but I don't know, my audiobook mood has been very weird, and I wanted to read these books, but I don't think I'm like necessarily in an audiobook mood. Because like I am honestly getting into like a very strong physical reading mood, and like I want to read with my eyes. But I started oh my god, I forgot the name. It is by Lucy Parker, and it is kind of like the companion to Battle Royale, and I really loved that. I think Lucy Parker is an amazing author. And we have like a kind of fun, interesting setup here where we have like a bodyguard romance, but he's not her bodyguard. She's actually kind of like his assistant, or she's the assistant to the princess that he's the bodyguard of. And so they are kind of like in each other's proximity, and the heroine is kind of like she basically constantly gets in trouble because like obviously it can get a little bit dangerous or whatever. And so they end up getting into this like situation and you know, some pictures of them get released and it looks a little bit suspicious, and then the people around them are like, you know what, maybe you should actually fake date, and they agree, and things go on from there. So it kind of has the like royal vibe and the bodyguard vibe, even though it's not like a direct royal romance or a bodyguard romance. And it is very fun. It's very cute. I can't really tell you much more because I don't know exactly how far I am, maybe like 20% or something. So yeah, I was making brownies yesterday and I listened to this during that because like I've been really excited for this book. And yeah, and the other book is, I think, is it called The Court of Undying Seasons by A.M. Strickland. I hope that's the name and not a name of a whole different book. But it might actually, is that the name? Yes, that is the name. So, this is a book that I've been extremely hyped for, and I actually really wanted to buy a copy of it, but it's been way too expensive, and so I just like thought, you know, fuck it, I'm gonna listen to the audiobook. And as you might know, I don't know if I mentioned it in here, but I keep talking about it, and that is this year I really want to get back into fantasy. I want to find the fantasy books that just work for me, that, you know, are fun and magical and amazing and whatever. And so this is a YA fantasy, and I absolutely loved the previous book by A.M. Strickland that I read, that I of course also forgot the name of, but I loved that so much. I loved it so much more than I like expected. because not like for any specific reason, but you know, and this one is basically around is this I also did not read that much of this one, so I'm not gonna tell you that much, but we have vampires, we have queer and non-binary characters. Basically every single one of the characters in this story is queer, and yeah, it feels kind of like a darker fantasy, just again like vampire vibes all the way. And you know, I love that. So I will tell you more about the plot as I continue this book. And I just like, I don't know, I need to be a little bit careful with the fantasy because like I need to be in the right mood for it. And I'm not sure we're fully there, but we will be reading this book. So yeah. And I think that's actually all that I have read, and I need to edit this video and see how much footage I have because I feel like I have not actually read anything because I've been doing like all the other videos and whatever, but I still wanted to do this vlog because like I like showing you the random shit as well, like the lamp, and you know, and let me know if you like the more like lifestyle-y content or just like random things that are not just about books. Speaking of, I always keep saying that I want to talk more about movies and shows, and then I never do, or I do and then I edit it out because I'm like no one gives a shit. But I'm gonna go on a little rant. I'm gonna also start making timestamps on my videos since I make such long vlogs, and you know, if you don't want to hear about shows or movies or whatever it might be, you can just skip forward. So I have entered like a bit of a watching crisis, and my watching had a bit of a renaissance and then it entered a crisis. So basically I used to adore watching TV shows in high school. It was like my main thing. Like I had a show for every single day. It was the time that, you know, like all the shows released like every single week. And so I literally had shows for like every day, and like multiple shows as well. It was a vibe. It was amazing. And it was the shows like The Vampire Diaries and Teen Wolf and The Flash, the whole Arrowverse, and I watched Once Upon a Time and New Girl and Two Broke Girls and like Baby Daddy and shit, like all kinds of shit. You know, honestly, the variety is hilarious to me. And I loved these shows, and so like this last year I decided to just rewatch a lot of them, and even though, you know, some of them are not like perfect by any means, they still mean a lot to me, and mainly I love the characters. But the past few weeks I was just like, you know what, I really need something new, something that I can get invested into for the first time, and that is honestly really hard to find. And I need to ask you, please tell me what your favorite shows are, even movies, but especially TV shows, because like I want something to, you know, that's gonna last. And so please let me know. The thing that I love the most is like basically what I would categorize as contemporary within books, and just like set in our world, like in the direction of like sitcoms and dramas, just like, you know, people chilling and living their life and whatever. And I just love that. And the shows that do this the most often, I feel like, are the teen drama shit. And I have a love-hate relationship with that because like they can be really fun and there's so much potential. And the problem is not that it's like YA. The problem is that I cannot find the lipstick I want to use. The problem is that there's repetitive shit that happens in it all the time that I'm absolutely tired of, which mostly it's love triangles. And, you know, we have the shows like The Summer I Turned Pretty and Never Have I Ever, and I can't think of anything else right now, but there's a billion things because every single teenage drama has a love triangle in it. And I just like, I have to rant about this because I know someone else feels the same, and I need to get it out. So I basically started watching The Life with the Walter Boys yesterday, and I was avoiding this show since it came out because I was just like, I do not want to watch another love triangle situation where especially they're brothers, and I'm just like, who the fuck thought that this was a good idea in the first place, and why the hell do these people think it's a good idea to keep doing this? I'm so incredibly frustrated with the whole like movie TV show industry that they have been so terrified to do any new things that they keep doing the same shit, and we keep eating it up because we don't have anything else, but we don't want it, you know? We don't want to see another motherfucking love triangle where it's the exact same, where it's the bad boy and the good boy, and like, I'm so sick of that. And the thing that I hate the most, especially in the recent times, is I'm not ever happy with who the main character actually ends up with, you know? If I was happy, I would still hate it, like, but it would at least not be completely terrible, you know? So yeah, so like I'm watching the show and it's addicting, and I'm like I will finish it within 2 days, because like I need shit to watch, but I'm kind of like hating every second of it a little bit because like I'm so tired of that. And I'm so happy that in books it feels very different to me, at least. Like obviously there's some repetitive things, but if you're good at looking for books in any capacity, you can find so much incredible stuff, so many unique things and new concepts, and it is incredible. And I'm just like, you know, the people making movies and TV shows really need to learn from authors and just try new things. Like, how hard is that, you know? And it's just ridiculous. But I'm just like, you know, the whole like always focused on money. Like, they could make so much money if they actually knew what people wanted, and it is not what they're actually putting out. So, rant over. Please recommend me TV shows, preferably not ones with a love triangle. And I will shut up now because this update has been insanely long. I'm gonna go set up my lamp, but I actually got a book at the grocery store, and that is Check and Mate by Ali Hazelwood. So I never thought I would find good books at the grocery store, but recently they always have like one that I actually like, and it costs so much less than at the bookstore for some reason. And this was there, and I have been wanting to get it since it came out, but I was slightly on a book buying ban at the end of the year, and I'm so happy that I can have it now. I don't know if we're gonna read it in here, but I do think I definitely want to read it soon because it's gonna be a very fun time, and I'm so excited for Allie's upcoming paranormal romance, and I need something to, you know, do in the meantime. So I'm gonna shut up. I will talk to you soon. Hello everyone. So it is time for some updates and to wrap up this vlog. I've been doing some reading. Yeah, so I was editing this video and I wasn't gonna end it yet, but of course it's as per usual, just because I have a problem with not finishing books in vlogs. You know, I was just like, you know, it's fine. Like, I'm just gonna finish this and this and this, and then I'll wrap this up, and, you know, we'll all be happy. I just need to stop doing that. Obviously, I want to finish the books that I start, but putting pressure on finishing them in the vlogs that are supposed to be chill and casual is not it. Like, obviously, I'm gonna finish the books in the videos that are, like, about finishing the books. But this is supposed to be literally just, you know, chilling, talking anyway, so I've not finished everything, but I have finished some things, and I actually did start The Roommate Pact by Allison Ashley, and I got to page 96, so obviously, yes, I have not finished this. Will be reading this, and I'm sure there's a lot of vlogs that I could put this in where I will finish it, so I'm not mad at it, and I did not want to rush this book, and so this is, again, I think I mentioned, one of my most anticipated releases of last year, one of my 5-star predictions. I'm so excited to read this, to keep reading this, and so far I am enjoying it. I'm not fully feeling the, like, new all-time favorite vibes that I had with Would You Rather, but we're not even halfway through, and I have a feeling that we're about to get into the juiciest, best parts. You know, and this is a bit of a fun setup, so I thought this was just friends to lovers and that they like move in together, but they've actually been living together for like a year at least, and they're friends, but they actually, one author who blurbed it called it frenemies, and I feel like it literally feels that way. Like, they're friends, but they keep constantly arguing and bickering around, and so there's a lot of banter, and so I feel like in a way this could work for both fans of friends to lovers and enemies to lovers. So at the same time, it's like kind of neither of those things, but As a best friends to lovers stan, it is working for me. I think it's really fun, and I like the fact that they've been living together, and actually they have another roommate, which I was like, oh shit, like I'm not used to that. When I read roommates books, they just live alone, you know, they have privacy, like all of that. And so that is interesting. And so the plot of this actually is that first of all, they have the roommate pact where a year before the story, they made the decision that when they turn, if they don't have anyone, if they're not married at 40, they're gonna marry each other. And now at the beginning of the book, then they're like, you know what, that the heroine is like, I don't actually want that. And they change that pact to like, we're gonna be friends with benefits. And that kind of like then turns out a bit sooner than when they turn 40. So yeah, and on top of that, the hero gets injured, and it's quite like a serious injury, and so the heroine is actually a nurse, he's a firefighter, and so she's like, okay, I'm gonna take care of you, we're gonna, you know, make sure you're gonna be okay. And so it's gonna be even more forced proximity and all of that, and I feel like it's like the caretaking trope on crack, you know, because usually it's like the character gets sick for a few days and, you know, they make them some soup and all of that, and here it's like it's gonna be deeper than that. So I'm excited to keep reading. I'm very much enjoying it. You will certainly hear my thoughts very soon. Before I forget, I bought a book that I have not started, but just to show you, I got That Time I Got Drunk and Saved a Demon by Kimberly Lemming. This is the third book in this series. I don't know what the series is called, but I loved the first book, didn't really like the second book, and I'm excited to see how I feel about this. I don't know if I'm gonna, obviously but generally I read at least one other book that's like kind of not in this series that I loved. And so overall, I do really love this author. I love what she's doing with these books, and it's like actual fantasy romance that is a romance in a fantasy world, and I don't want to call it romantasy because I just feel like it doesn't make sense. Like the books that have been used in that, I just do not think work. Anyways, I'm very excited for this. Definitely will be reading it soon. And a few more things. I did finish, literally just finished, In Which Winnie Halifax Is Utterly Ruined by Alexandra Vasti. And I will not talk about this for too long because I don't want this video to be too long, but I am in love with Alexandra Vasti's books, like so hard. I got an arc. I think I mentioned it in this video that I was just like, I don't know how I'm gonna wait. And so I got the arc of one of my most anticipated releases, and I'm so happy. And I will be diving into that. The only thing I'm not happy about is that once I read that, and then I'm gonna read her new novella at the end of this month, I'm not gonna have any books left. But I want to read it so bad that I don't care, and I can always reread. So I'm obsessed with this book. I'm obsessed with her. I'm obsessed with this series. So this one had a bit of a slower beginning, but once we get in there, like, it is perfection. She writes such incredibly fun heroines, but all of them feel very different, like they have their own personalities. And in this, Winnie basically makes up a husband, like an estranged husband, because she wants to be independent. She wants to rent this place and be a businesswoman and, you know, live her own life. And so she makes up a husband, and she comes up with a name of a guy who actually exists. And he finds out, and he like seeks her out, and he's like, what's happening? But at the same time, he rescues her from prison, and things go on from there. There's a lot of like, she's my wife things. And it's basically like a fake marriage. It's literally a fake marriage, and it is incredible. All of these are so swoon-worthy, so fun, so entertaining, so funny, so hot, so fucking wonderful. I cannot put into words how much I love this series, and you all need to read it the second that it's out. So I don't know if I made it clear that I got these through her newsletter, but they're not currently out, but they're gonna be out soon. Next month. Let me see. February 6th, maybe? So that's not actually that far away. So keep your eye out on that. I also read a graphic novel called Cosmo Nights by Hannah Templer. And please let me know if you have any comic, graphic novel, manga, whatever it is, recommendations. I desperately need to read more this year. I did not read that many last year. I felt like not that many came out. But I feel like maybe I also don't really follow a lot of people who talk. Honestly, no one I follow talks about graphic novels, really. Just like very on occasion. And I enjoyed this. So this is volume 2, so I'm not going to talk about that much, but it's like this sci-fi found family series where they rescue these princesses who are supposed to be like kind of sold to be married. And there is a lot of queer characters and it is very fun. I think it's going to get better as it goes. The first two were a bit more plot driven than I would like, that like I would prefer it to be more character driven, because these characters are really fun and intriguing, and obviously since it's found family, like all I want are the characters, but at the same time it is sci-fi, like it makes sense, there's some plot anyway. So it was like a 3.5 star for me, which, you know, is fine, is good. I'm still happy that I read it and I still do like it, so I would recommend it if it sounds like something you would like. And I did read some random shit, but honestly this video is so long that, you know what, I will tell you about one last thing, because I honestly don't really want to shut up that much. I read a whole book. I was gonna do a 24-hour readathon actually, but that failed, but I read this in there, and I might as well tell you, and it is A Reckless Match by Kate Bateman, which is like enemies to lovers, kind of like a Romeo and Juliet setup. Their families hate each other, but they kind of find themselves having to work together. There's like a lot of danger they get into, a lot of like, yeah, crimes they try to solve, things like that. Is very fun. It's hard for me to like enemies to lovers. I've said this many times. I love it when it's done well. Like obviously it's a great trope, but it's hard for me to love it. And I did really enjoy it in here. I feel like this is like very fast paced and there's a lot of action, and it is also very plot driven and too much for me for sure, but if you like a lot of plot and action, definitely check it out. I definitely did enjoy the romance. The only thing is I felt like I didn't get as invested in the characters as I would like. And the middle kind of felt too slow when it comes to the romance, and then the ending felt a little bit too fast. But yeah, I love Kate Bateman. This is definitely not my favorite book by hers, but I'm happy that I read this, and I hope that I'm gonna love the other books in this series more, and I definitely do want to read more of her backlist books because she has so many books. So I'll stop talking now. I will catch up with you soon in a different video. But I hope you enjoyed watching this, and yeah, if you made it this far, leave a champagne glass emoji down below. There's something like a glass. There's something like that, right? And thank you so much for watching. Have a great day, and I'll see you soon in another video. Bye!